Good afternoon, everybody. Here we are again. Welcome to WATN. We were thinking of like having a blank screen today with nobody on it and saying, where are they now? But we decided against it. As you may know, I'm going to be talking to iconic South African artists, people in the music business, local and international, and find out how they came to this point in their lives, very worth having lived. Absolutely. I want to dig deep. Is someone I've always admired and respected so highly in this industry for her formidable voice, her stage president, her contribution to the country's metamorphosis from the fierce apartheid era to where we are as a nation right now. I always say to our guests, this is a place to tell the truths, to brag a bit, to say what was and who you played with and whatever. People like to hear this. They want to see who you've been with. And we like to hear all the stories, warts and all. So that said, I'm going to start with introducing my guest today, Miss PJ Powers. Welcome, sweetheart. I am so happy to have you here. I'm going to say darling Penny because I've known you for about 40 years or so. Okay, isn't that crazy? And you're still a force to be reckoned with. You're still out there doing your thing and you're so relevant, and that's where you are now. You are relevant. Welcome to the show. Hello.
Hello, my friend. How are you? It's fabulous to see you again.
And it's fabulous to see you as well. I tried to copy your hairstyle. Am I close?
I know we did very well. I think we did damn well.
Did you get the memo? I got the memo. Have your hair like PJ. Did you get it? Have your hair like Cindy?
No, okay, I got just pitch.
Pitch.
It's
just
Cindy,
be there.
So I did.
Yay! And here you are. It is awesome, and we are very happy to have you, darling. I want to ask you, your first real question is, when did you hear the calling? When were you in your life, a little girl, older? When was it that you heard this calling for music?
Oh, what a lovely question. I was 5. I remember my gran used to play the piano in the London Philharmonic Orchestra. She was an LTCL, and I listened to her play classical music. And I was 5 when I used to walk around with a tape recorder with, those old tapes where they've got to play and record and pause and all of that. And I used to follow my sister Priscilla, who you know, and I used to follow Priscilla around with a microphone saying, please interview me. Because in my head, it was please interview me, and I knew all the questions. And I said, please interview me. Because in my head, I was a famous singer. Not a singer, must understand this. I was a famous singer. So I am like the manifestation of what you believe you become.
Well, it's the truth. I mean, and I also was a famous singer when I was a kid,
Yeah.
I mean, that was my story too.
Were you also American?
No, I was not. Yes, I was. I lived in America. I wasn't American, but I lived in America. I used to dream of going to Disneyland and places like that. Yes, the American thing. And it's so funny because when we sing, we all sing with an American accent.
Well, I was talking about this actually the other night on the phone, and I think that American is the lingua franca of music.
Without a doubt.
It is. I mean, I don't go past and last and those kind of things. But to say last and past doesn't really work.
It doesn't
musically. Work. Yeah, it doesn't work. It is the lingua franca. I was actually American when I was 5. That's what I need to tell the people that are watching this. I had a full-on accent. I was like, I was South African. I hadn't denied my roots, but at the age of 5, I had come home after a worldwide sellout tour, and it was my homecoming tour to South Africa, and that was what the interview was about. At the age of 5, I had done a worldwide tour.
Well, so you knew what you were going to be doing, and you knew what your journey was going to be about.
Yeah, same as you, Cindy.
Yeah,
Same as you.
We have had very similar paths, you and I. We'll talk more about that. We've walked.
We've traveled like this.
We have, definitely. I mean, we've got such similar stories in so many ways. We will touch on some of those stories. Some of them are too naughty.
Oh no, come on, let's be naughty. No,
We can be a little bit naughty.
they're
Okay,
gonna think.
so is this an adult show?
No, but it'd have to be X-rated if we were going to go there.
Definitely. Ooh. So I just wanted to ask you, where did it lead you? I mean, did you do school concerts? Did you sort of go from there? How did it lead you to? What was your first band? Was that Panther?
My first band was Panther.
Yes.
Don't
So,
you remember
Panther,
Cindy? Okay, I'm
of
going to let
course.
everybody know this. This is respected. Cindy was like the most famous person in the world that I'd ever known, that I ever knew. And Cindy was she was rock and roll. She had all of it, the lingo. She had a boyfriend, a very gorgeous one, and she was hot like you cannot believe. I mean, the body was there, everything was there. And I came up from Durban, having with an all-girl band, trying to copy Cindy and Clout,
Oh
and
my God.
didn't do very successfully, but came up, and we all lived. Do you remember we all lived in the same block of flats in Hillbrow? We all
Yes.
lived in
Yes.
Canmore Court, the whole of
Yes.
Clout and the whole of Panther. And I used
Exactly.
to look at Cindy. And I used to think, because of course I had come up from Durban, this parochial little colonial whatever, with Carmen rollers in my hair, and I was just not rock and roll at all. And Cindy was so rock and roll; it was fabulous. And you were like my hero. You were my you. I used to stand and look at you and think, when have I ever been this good? You know, and not that there's a huge age difference between us, but
No.
it was just you were. I mean, you were the most famous. You were the first and the most famous person I'd ever met. And you were
Wow.
traveling in and out of Germany and traveling in and out of the world. You're number two on the UK charts, and I mean it was just ridiculous. The success was overwhelming. For me, it was doubly overwhelming because here I was meeting the person I wanted to be. So there's your intro, Cindy.
I, I actually don't know what to say because, um,
It's true.
wow. Thank you for saying that. I so appreciate it. Um, because I used to go and watch you when
We're
you
like a
left
mutual
when
admiration society here.
it was. So Panther was fun, and it was your real sort of intro into the rock scene, as you said,
Yeah, it was. But
because
you
you
know what?
guys
You're
were.
being so kind. We were
No,
so
it's true.
bad.
You were rocking. You were getting in there and you were learning to be on stage. I mean, the first time I used to be, excuse me, on stage, I looked like a little freaking South African poppy. I would also just like not move anything. I was terrified and then morphed into. So you morphed into who you were going to be. And the next thing that came along was Hotline.
Uh huh.
And that was your true coming of age as an artist because it allowed you to be PJ Powers, you
Yeah, I
know?
mean, Hotline was it was that was a gift. Those four guys to play with and to be with.
Yes,
That one of when I count my greatest gifts, those four men were certainly boys. Were certainly my gift, and it was very quick. I was very young. I was 19, and it was the universe saying, "You've chosen the right path."
absolutely. Or the path has chosen you,
Yes, I think more like it. Yep.
you
We're
know?
getting so spiritual.
Oh, yes, I like to get So I felt, I've always said it, and it's in my bio, it's in my book, I think, that music chose me. And I
Yeah.
believe that we are just conduits for a greater thing out there, a great spirit, a universe, whatever we want to call it. We are conduits. We are given these things to share, to give out. They are not
Yeah.
ours. And that is why you've also never had this ego problem where you are too big and too freaking la di da for anybody. You still talk to the people, you still communicate, you're still there as a human being, and that's why people love you.
Well, thank you, Cindy. First of all, I had far too many insecurities to let an ego consume me. And we shared the
Hello.
same, we both had the weight issues. I mean, when I tell you,
Hello.
how's that for parallel living? You know, we both have suffered
Unbelievable.
from very similar insecurities.
And
And
very
so,
bad managers
well,
who
we shared a
fed
manager. That was
those
even worse.
insecurities. They fed them. They loved it. They'd love
Absolutely.
to tell me, "Oh, your chins look a little double there, Cindy," and
Yeah.
please
And
carry on.
being weighed in an
Yes.
office. I think that that was the first of all. So, in a way, if they say that, out of every bad situation, it's the shadow. It's chasing the light, and there is the light on the
Sure.
dark side. And the light
Yes.
side of that darkness was that I didn't develop this overwhelming, all-consuming ego about myself.
Yes.
And I think that whilst I have worked very hard to shed a lot of those insecurities, I
Yes.
think a certain amount of them, I think that if you don't have humility in life, then the big man upstairs, or God, or the universe, whoever you want to believe, comes in and goes, clap, there's a spot of humility for you.
Yes.
And that happened to me.
Yes, it
Um,
has.
it has,
Absolutely. It's
yeah, it
happened
has happened.
to us quite a
You
few
certainly got a
times.
clap,
Yeah,
you know.
I've had a few, I call them the universal slap, the cosmic slap.
Yeah, yeah.
I just want to tell you quickly, darling, how many people are online around watching us. We've got Fame, we've got Delia. I love my friend Delia, Stephen Gazer, Joanne Wilson Cooper. Yay. Davy De Jager, Andrew Palman, Amy LaRue, Alta van Wyk, Trevor Otum, Davy again, and Ati. No, it's Alta. Alta van Wyk. Sorry, I thought it was Ati. But everybody's just sending us lovely messages. Hi, everybody. We know that you're there. We appreciate it very much.
Yeah,
Um,
thank you.
Darling, I'd love to play a Hotline video. This is one of my favorite Hotline scenes from you because it was that concert in the park.
Oh, yeah.
Untouchable moments.
Yeah, very untouchable.
Untouchable.
Oh,
Okay, let's hear you say, dance, mama, dance, brother, dance, sister, dance together. All of Africa, the people gave me the precious name Panther.
I mean, that is just spectacular. Can you feel it still?
Yeah, that was that was one of the greatest concerts that I
Ever,
remember performing at. Yeah,
ever in
it was
South
probably ever
Africa.
the greatest concert that South Africa had. Um, it was an amazing feeling, and we were. It was such a weird time in our country as well, because
Yes,
'85 was. I mean, our country was ripped apart by at that point in time by violence and all, and just we were in the throes of the apartheid regime, and
yes,
the fact that we had this concert and the first multiracial concert held at Ellis
yes,
Park with, I remember thinking to myself, this is never going to work. And when I remember arriving with the band and thinking, and you could feel it from outside. I mean, they were over. Eventually, they stopped with the tickets because they'd sold
yes.
100,000 tickets, and eventually they just thought, we just got to let these people in, otherwise there's going to be a riot. And it was a joyous time in our country. I remember it very clearly, and with great love.
And it was indeed the start of something, the multiracial opening of so many things. For us in the music business, I was never conscious of black, white, anything because ever since I'd been a musician, I'd work with black musicians, Indian guys, colored guys, everybody was always together.
Yeah,
So as musicians, we were always, I think we are the voices of the world at whatever time it is. For example, the Dylans and the Leonard Cohens in the Vietnam era,
yeah, yeah.
the Joan Bayers, they were speaking about what was going on. Songwriting, let me talk to you about that
Uh
because
huh.
you were writing about the stuff. I was in
Yes.
Zia at the time, I remember, and I was also writing about that stuff a little bit soft because otherwise they wouldn't play you on the radio. So we would
Uh,
hold back and we would say it in a way that it wasn't like, you bastards, look what you did. So talk about your songwriting because I always admired that so much about you had such great songs, Penny.
Yeah, I am blessed with that craft of being able to songwrite. I think that censorship was, I mean, obviously I didn't agree with it, but censorship did enable us or did cause us and drove us, for use of a
Yes,
better word, drove us to write in a clever way, because I think it's very easy to go out there and just fly your fist and sort of say F this and F that and F the system and deliver a message like that. Whereas one had to be a little bit more clever. I wasn't as lucky as you. I didn't escape the regime because I was banned. I went off to do a 90s, and when I came back, I was persona non grata, and they had the SABC had put like a compass through all of the tracks, and it was based on nothing. It was based on nothing. I remember when I recorded "Feel So Strong" with Steve Kakana,
yes,
who I think it was probably the first multiracial duet that was done in the country, and
yes.
we held hands at the end and put our hands above our heads, not in a Black Power salute at all, although I would have loved to have, but not in a Black Power salute. And the SABC, which was weird, they would play it, but they chopped our arms off where our skins touched. That is how. So Steve and I, at the end of "I Feel So Strong," and we went like this, and it looked like we had no hands. We'd be, I don't know, we'd be somewhere where, and our arms had been chopped off, because that's where they chopped the video, was where the skin touched. So it was
Wow.
the magnitude of that kind of
Yeah,
fear,
yeah,
which is of course what it was all born out of. It was absolute fear.
of course.
Um, was enormous for me. I thought, what are you so scared about? But clearly, I mean, I
Well,
don't
we
know what
were
was in the
put, the
psyches.
fear of God was put into us. I mean, I remember they were tapping my phone line, as if I was some kind of, activist. I was just a bloody musician. And I remember I was wearing a Kosatu t-shirt once on stage,
Oh,
and the
naughty girl.
police came up to me and they said, "You take that off." I said, "Oh, really? I've got nothing on underneath. Do you want me to walk around with my titties out?" And they said, "No, turn it inside out." Which I did. I turned
Yeah.
the t-shirt inside out. But they were going to take me away. And I was like, hold on, I got to do a concert here.
Yeah, I
So,
visited John Foster Square a couple of times, but that was then. That was then, and I did all over again. I wasn't scared of them. and I'm not scared of the people in now either.
Yes.
You
No,
know,
we don't have that fear now. I have none of that
you
fear.
know, getting back to what you were saying,
Yes.
Nelson Mandela was. I had the great honor. I received a letter from him while he was still incarcerated,
Yes.
and when on his release, he asked to have a meeting with me, which I did, and I'll never forget him. Well, obviously, I didn't turn him down, but I'll never. Music is a velvet glove through which you can express your pain, politics, and anything else in a way that the spoken word can't. And I think that is what we have as musicians. We have the
Yes.
ability to go into really sensitive, soft, difficult places that the spoken word is it's harsher, it gives people more time, it's not softened in any way. And so it's a great and you know, when you talk about the universe having chosen you, I think that we've been blessed enough to have been given this platform through which you use the word conduit. It's a platform to,
Yes.
and I think it's irresponsible. This is my dig at people that write silly songs. What's a silly
I
song,
agree.
I ask?
No,
You
I
know,
get you.
you got to
I
write
mean, you
something
don't
with
have to
substance.
say the words. You can allude to everything and still make such
Certainly.
a tandeka. You know, it shows that people got it. People understood what you were doing.
You know, it was the first time I didn't even realize until much later in my life that in fact I was being political. I didn't. But giving, you know, I was given the name Tandega in 1983 on the 31st of May 1983 at a concert at Jabulani Amphitheatre. And you know, you talk about those great blessings and those great
Yes.
times in your life
Yes.
where you remember them so clearly. And that has been another one of my gifts, because that was my first soft landing, Cindy. It was the first time I actually felt unconditional love. Nobody cared about the size of my ass. Nobody, you know,
Yeah. Yeah.
I bumbled on and was larger than life and loved for it. And that was an amazing feeling.
That is an amazing feeling, especially, Penny, in this industry, darling,
Oh,
because this industry is brutal. It is very judgmental. They cut you down at the slightest. You're too old. You've got too many wrinkles. Your hair's not beautiful enough. You're not thin enough. You're not good enough. La, 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 la. We are
yeah.
continually being held up to that light of judgment, the arrows that get slung at us. People don't even understand this part of the industry. I wouldn't change anything. I mean, I've all the things I've done and all the experiences, even the bad ones, I have no
They make us
regrets.
grow.
They were definitely lessons of life. So let's let's talk a little bit about from bands to solo, transforming and putting yourself out there like even more in the public eye. Now they've got nobody else to focus on. It's just me, me, me. What did that feel like for you?
I think that and you would have experienced the same thing. I think as the vocalist
Yes.
in the band, and this is whether or not the other people like it in the band or not. You know, we went through a bit of that as well. But as the
Yes.
vocalist in a band, you automatically, I mean, unless you're Phil Collins in Genesis and you're sitting behind the drums, which
Sure.
you know, but generally the vocalist in a band is the focal point of what people will look at. So I didn't find that adjustment from the audience side in, from the outside in. I didn't find that adjustment so overwhelming, other than the
Yes.
fact that, you know, I'd been writing all the Hotline stuff. So
Yes.
it just meant that I had to start writing 2 albums a year,
Yes,
and
okay.
write a PJ Powers album. So besides the burden, and it wasn't a burden, but besides that
No.
expectation of 2
Yes.
albums a year, what I did feel was I suddenly didn't have my people behind me. I suddenly didn't have that support. I didn't have you know, I didn't know, you know, when we were part of a band, we were all completely vested in that one common goal, one common interest. We were on the same journey. Whereas you can turn right, they're not, we don't have one I mean, I've got Tigger Roynett as a guitarist who definitely he has my back. And he is a perfect foil and works incredibly well with me, and I love him dearly, and we've worked together for over 20 years. Having said that, I have turned around a lot in my solo career, which was, I mean, Hotline only lasted for 8 years. And my career's been 40. You know, we think that these bands on the guitar, who was huge in my life, you know, and to work with a guitarist of that standard, when it comes to that talent, and I look at him play, did you also? I got
When I saw him play,
goosebumps.
Make monyet, booster le bole borolo, and meet moget. Forget about the flag you get, go whack. So holo your bags on track, you check. Back by my demand is this anthem, and we pack the same command from where it came from. Jack to jack, blood in my system, man. Got my white and black, my hippie all screaming.
Loved him.
is that great?
I loved him, hey. He was so clever, Cindy.
Yes.
He was so clever.
What was his vibe?
Jabba was musically my favorite collaboration.
Really?
Yeah, the two of us, we had an amazing energy on stage. We would get up on stage and you could almost feel it was like, you know, it was
Sizzling.
it was. He was clever and he was loving and he was just, you know, when I heard of his passing, it was one of my greatest losses, because, you know, it was such a waste. But Jabba, you know, Jabba wasn't for this. He was too kind. He wasn't for this world, you know. And I know that everybody, you know, after the suicide and all of this, you know, there was so many things to be said. But as Jabba's dad, who's a psychologist, said he's out of his pain now, and he was. But sure, I missed him, and when I see him, I must be honest, I can get quite
Teary.
He was a beautiful man, yeah.
Well, you were lucky to work with him, sweetheart.
Yeah, I was
know,
very lucky.
You had that opportunity. And we are touched many times by people in this industry who are so sensitive and so hurt by things. And I mean, I know I've been there many times, that you just want to fold the deck and just say, I'm out. You know, I can't do this anymore. And you know, you coming to terms with a lot of things in your life and speaking about it, that is empowering to everybody out there, that people see, you know, everybody goes through this. It's not you know.
I think that's why I loved your book, and I thought that my book was brave in that I'm hoping that people read my book, and you know, I think that there was a lot of surprises in there, because I think that I've always been perceived as being this larger than life kind of personality in South Africa, with no frailties and no fragility, and just always, you know, got it all under control. And you know, when I as you know, I'm a recovering alcoholic, and I sobered up. It was 10 years. I've got 10 years of sobriety on the 9th of January, and I would do it all over again, because I don't know how nice I was before. I mean, I was always nice. I was a lovely person, I must be honest, but I'm a lovelier person, and I have a lot more humility, and I have more. It hasn't taught me to be more circumspect or more cynical. It's just taught me to realize that we've all got our stuff. And
Yes.
if people don't think that they've got stuff, then they're just madder than the people that admit that they have stuff. Because you can't be on this planet and have that USB put into your head as you come out of your mother's womb that
No.
gets fed with all sorts of stuff and not have some kind of consequences. For me, it's impossible.
It's a journey, all these things, like having read your book as well and my book, it was like warts and all, just say it like it is, because in that way, for me, it was very cathartic to write about all that stuff that people didn't know about. You did this, you did that, what? Wow, and yes, I'm so damn human that I scare myself,
Yeah.
that it's like, come on, be more of a superstar. Maybe you would have gotten further, blah, blah, blah. I think that the book and speaking about what we've done and stuff is, I think it makes us definitely more palatable to the people that come and watch us, come and hear us, come and see us. Please,
When
bring it
I
on.
wrote that book, and I didn't want my book to be all about me. I wanted my book to be set in the country, and I felt that for people to understand where we
Yes.
are as a country,
Yes.
they have to understand where we've come from. So I was very careful, myself and Marianne Tam, who was a brilliant,
Yes.
brilliant co-author, and she if I ever did 1,000,000 books again, I'd want to do 1,000,000 books with Marianne Tam. I just feel that I wanted my book to be about more than, as I say, more than just me. And most importantly, every time somebody reads my book, I hope and I pray that someone finds themselves in the book, because then it's a book well written.
Penny, I feel the same way about songs I write. That
You write
even if
beautiful
one
songs.
person,
You
thank
write
you,
beautiful. She writes beautiful songs,
but so do you. You write amazing songs.
and she plays the guitar really well. Unlike me, but anyway.
Rubbish. You have
She
so got-
she plays a 12-string, and I don't know what your fingers must look like, but it's got a fat sound. Look, stubby fingers. Stormy
Stubby little
windows,
guitar
stubby fingers.
Stubby little fingers, man. I think that's a good song. We should write something. Hey,
Stubby little fingers,
man. Stubby fingers.
Stubby fingers. Man. You know what? We'll probably make as much money as that bloody Korean dude who did
my
Gum Gum
God.
Style. Stubby
then-
fingers.
Yes, and the shark. Have you heard that? Mama shark, baby shark, papa shark. I mean, sometimes the mind boggles to hear what people write and what it hits. It does boggle the mind, and I still try and stay true to myself in every possible way. Sometimes I'll write a song that's a bit funny, that's light-hearted and a bit frivolous, but most of the stuff I think that we write is from real deep feeling.
Yeah, I
Of
find
connection.
it very. I think that writing happy songs is a real craft.
It is a
because
craft.
anger and resentment and sadness,
I
that's
like that
the
stuff,
diesel of good songs, man.
I've had plenty of people say to me, you've never written a love song. I said, no, I haven't. And your point?
Your point being?
Your point
Yeah,
being?
yeah.
What
That's
I'm
why I
saying?
take our foot off. I take my hat off to bloody Pharrell Williams. I mean, just to call a song happy is an outrageous concept for me.
Well, it was a huge song for him, and more
And a great
power
song.
to him.
Yeah.
As we're talking, like finding deeper meaning and stuff like that, also working with people in a band or working with people around us, it was a natural progression for you after Hotline to be a solo artist. I mean, your
Yeah.
name is your name. Nobody could take it away from you.
Yeah.
I struggled with that a lot when Clout died, because I didn't know what the hell to do with myself, and nobody had my back. So nobody came and said, look, Cindy, maybe you should try this, except my boyfriend at the time, who we know. And he said to me, get out there and just start working, at least do something. So, I thought, okay, because I didn't know who I was without the band. Who was I? I had to redefine myself in a way.
Yeah, I think that I was very lucky, and one doesn't want to give too much credit to certain people, but I always use this person's name when I say the bad stuff about him, but I don't use stuff when I say the good stuff. So, I mean, to give a certain man, my management at the time, credit,
Yes.
there was good management for a period of time. It just
Yes.
it all went wrong when the money started coming in, but which
Sure.
happens a lot. But I was already releasing solo albums, PJ Powers and
Yes.
Hotline.
Yes.
So that PJ Powers
Yes.
became, there was not such an enormous step. And your decent management would have had you, and sometimes I think to myself, Claire Johnston, to a degree, there's certain people that need to be Cindy Alter and Clout. If they've been
Yes.
one of those before,
Yes.
or Cindy Alter and Zia.
Yes. Yes,
I of course, hindsight's a great science, but I realize that now in retrospect, that's where Mike was very good in that he thought, hang on a second, for the longevity, we've got to create this as a product within the product, the brand within the brand, which was lucky. But I mean, you just start singing and everybody knows it's you. So, didn't
Well,
take you very long to
ditto.
come springing back.
Ditto. Um, what, I mean, we say what would we hindsight and what would we do differently and all that, blah, blah, blah. What would you do different? Because I don't think I would have. I think maybe I would have tried to find a manager straight away. Maybe. That's probably the only thing I would have done differently. But everything we've done up to now has led us to exactly where we are right now. So why would we have done anything differently?
Well, I think that is the that's the thing about life, is that is everything that I've done. The fact that I did a show last night, my first streaming, which was terrifying and fabulous. And right now, everything that I've ever done, my first day at school, my first concert, my first everything, all my firsts have led up to this moment of me
Exactly.
sitting here talking to you. And and that's the beauty of life, and that's being present. Is
It is.
I am anything else is it's over. And what is so profoundly apparent in my life as I go through it is that this is the only moment.
It is. It is. This is it. Because when I say the name of the show, even, where are they now?
Yeah.
And they are right here on this show. That's
Yeah.
where they are right now.
Well, that's it. That's where they. Well, that's it.
It-
Where
and
am I
that's
right now? I'm
exactly
here.
where you are.
Yeah.
And it makes so much sense. Tell us about some of your travels. Where have you been? What have you done? Who have you played with? Let's hear some of those little stories.
Oh, I've been spoiled rotten. I really have. From an early age, if I think of some of the people I've performed with off the top of my head, the Eric Claptons, the Joan Armatradings, playing with Miriam Makeba, which is what got me banned. In
Really?
Zim was because she was my absolute idol when I was young. I didn't get a hiding. My mother used to hide my 7 single of the Click song, and I'd far rather have got a beating. But so I've sung for Queen Elizabeth. I've
Wow.
my greatest we're probably singing at the Rugby World Cup in '95,
Yes.
which was billions of people.
That
Then
was
on
amazing.
Madiba, I did his all his birthdays. My birthday is the 16th of July and he's the 18th. So I always used to say to him, you realize that I'm always rehearsing, hey, for your birthday on my birthday. And he used to say, oh, I'm very, very grateful. So,
And he did talk like that.
yes, and and then performing at his 85th birthday in front of Bill Clinton and Oprah Winfrey and Peter Gabriel and who's the dude from Queen, the guitarist, Brian
Brian
May,
May.
and The
Brian May.
Cause, and just, I mean, it's endless. Who I've had the privilege, and I've worked on every continent, so
Yes.
I've been a very, very spoilt, lucky so and so. But
Well,
as I
you've
say,
gotten there. You've earned it all. I mean, you wouldn't be there
yeah,
if you hadn't earned
I think I
the
have earned
road.
it. I think I also, I think timing is wonderful, and timing is everything. And I think that
Yes.
expecting, not expectation.
No,
That
I
is,
understand.
or
Yes.
entitlement.
Yes.
It's just that
No.
I've got to a page where a stage where I kind of expect that I will do well now. Finally, I'm
Yes.
off the hook. I think I kind of expect that maybe it'll be a success. Not, oh, I wonder if I'm going to fail. I wonder if this is. I kind of like
Yes.
think, okay, surely now I can kind of maybe expect is the, but in it's okay. I mean, abundance is expectation of a purer
Of a
and
purer
a
form.
good
Sure.
form. Yeah.
Well, I think by not expecting,
You don't get.
you don't get anything.
That's what I
You
learned.
have to manifest that. You have to see it. You have to know that it is coming to you. You
What
know.
would you do differently if you did your whole life again?
Um,
Personal stuff. How would you
per-
approach your life?
Personally, I think every time something happened to me, I I really got it. It was like, oh my God, okay, I'm not going to do that again. You
Oh, you're
know,
lucky.
yeah, I do think I got
I'd have to
that.
chip the bricks first and then go, maybe I shouldn't run into that spot again.
No, well, if I want to talk about them as a piece, okay, I'm never going to be in an abusive relationship again. Okay, I'm never going
Yeah.
to let a manager screw me over again. Okay, I got that one. Blah blah blah. Those kind of little things like that. But personal, always got to look after yourself. Got to take care of this. Got to take care of the bod, and all that stuff. I think I'm still working on all of that. I don't think I've gotten to a place where I'm like, oh my God, I'm so happy with who I am and what I look like.
Oh, listen, I need to put your mind at rest because I've worked that one out. So I feel like
Oh,
I'm
tell
sitting,
me,
well,
please.
yeah, I've worked this one out, Cindy. Let me
Yes.
explain to you.
Come on. I need
They
it.
lied, there is no chariots of fire. Okay, there's no ba 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 playing in the background. Okay, where you're gonna run and then eventually you're gonna go bah, through this ribbon. It's a lie.
It
Okay,
is a
there
lie.
is no ribbon.
No.
That's just a long, long, wonderful journey, or it's a
Yes.
long, long, terrible journey. I have a saying which there's a highway to fear and a dust road to hope. And it's
I love that.
yeah, it's our default position to go straight into fear. And that dust road is the road we have to travel, which may be a
Yes.
little trickier to negotiate, but the reward is so much greater. But I know the ribbon, we never get there.
No,
There ain't no
I
ribbon.
agree. I don't think there's a there to get, because
I don't
if
want to
you're
ever get
there,
there.
then you're done.
Yeah, no,
And
pretty
then
much.
what? You're probably dead. So
No, pretty
I've
much.
always seen it as where people say, "Oh, I'm getting there. I'm getting there." I'm saying, "Where are you getting?" Because I'm still on the road. I'm still learning new things. I'm still testing myself. There's never a time that I can sit down. I don't even think that the Tibetan monks can say, I am perfect now,
Of
I
course
am
they
in
don't.
my world, everything is at one and at peace. Otherwise,
You
why are
know,
you
I've
still
got a
sitting
friend that
and
keeps going to the
meditating?
Himalayas to find
Yes.
herself.
Yeah.
And I can't, that's very expensive. Why don't you stay home and look in the
Stay
mirror?
home and
Because you're
stop
not in
looking.
the Himalayas, lovey.
It's
You're not in Tibet.
thank
So
you. And
stay
it's like,
home.
stay home, find yourself wherever you are. Um, I've heard people say that thing of to have that perfect life, you have to, give up this and give up that, and you've got to do that, and you've got to do all these things, right? And I'm like, but I'm not a Buddha living in a cave somewhere. I live in a town, in a city, a bustling, crazy city. There's noise around me, there's cars and shit. And for me to starve myself for 10 days and not eat or drink and be they call it a breatharian. I mean, have you ever in your life that people
I've
just
never
live
heard
on
of
air?
that.
Well, they live in a freaking cave, and all they do is just lie there all day with their eyes closed. So they don't expend any energy. I'm serious. No
I
energy is
think,
spent. So, I mean, I'm
I,
constantly thinking and constantly at work, and how are we going to fix this and how are we going to do this better and la 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 la. Yeah. So I'm not ready to be a Buddha in a cave.
yeah, I don't think we have to be a Buddha in the cave. I think, as usual, you're taking it to the extreme, as you tend to do from time to
I
time.
do get a bit out there. I know
I,
that. I admit it.
but that's the thing. That's the secret. I hate, here I sound like I'm pontificating.
No, no,
No, you're not.
you're
But I
allowed
think
to
that
pontificate. You
it,
do sort of know me a little bit, just a little bit.
I think that
Drama,
what
drama,
we're
drama.
no, I think it's all about finding stillness. I think
Yeah,
that it's all about finding a stillness,
some
and
kind of peace, some kind of peace in your life. So I'm not hectic. I mean, I don't. I also don't see you as being like highly, highly strung and running.
oh, no, I'm not. I highly strung and running. That's like
You know what I
cruel.
mean? Like, ooh, with that nervous, nervous energy constantly pushing you, pushing you, pushing you.
Oh, I have to constantly ask myself to slow down.
Yes.
Um, I would, having said that everything I've done has resulted in me being here, the only thing that I would approach differently is that I seem to have rushed through everything. I've been gone through my life. At the end of my book, I wrote a doggy bag for people to take home with them, and I've gone through life like a comet. It's been like, okay, well, that's that award. Where's the
Yeah.
next one?
Yeah.
And it's an amazing thing, because I do believe that impatience, it's the journey. You know that feeling when you first wanted a gold disc. Do you remember that? Like the gold disc was going to be
Yeah.
it,
Yeah.
and then you got the gold disc, and then it
Yeah.
was,
Now what?
what's there to go for
No,
now, other than
but
another
that's.
one?
I don't think that's rushing through life. I think that's
I
just
don't know.
making
I don't think, but I
goals.
never ever looked at the gold disc and went, "This is fabulous. This is great."
Okay, I know what you're saying.
I put it down and went for the. And I think that when we're being impatient on a trajectory, it's the nuance. We miss the nuances because it's the getting there that is the joy
Yes.
of life.
Yes.
It's the journey that's the joy.
Yes.
That's what we're
Absolutely.
talking about,
Mm.
and that's what I have come to realize. And no, I haven't come to realize. That's my greatest lesson: is to hamba kahle, is to
Yeah.
go
Got
gently and to go
yeah.
slowly. That's my greatest lesson. I've
Yeah.
worked that out.
Well, um, there
Have
you
you
are.
worked out
That
your
you,
greatest lesson? What do you have
which
to learn?
is
I know what
do,
you're amazing. You just
what?
yeah, you have become so you've become so. There was a time where I used to be really scared of you. Yeah.
Me?
I did, yeah. I used to be
Tell me
really scared
about
of you. I
that.
used to
That's
think, I
so.
wonder if Cindy likes me, or I wonder if, the eternal people pleaser.
Oh
But I
my
did. I
God,
used to be
that's
scared of you.
hysterical.
And your mother was very fierce. I remember coming to your house once, and many times, on the one occasion I went to your mum, I said, "Thank you very much, Mrs. Alter, for having me." And she looked at me and she said, "I didn't have you, your mother did." And I went,
Oh no, but she was. My mother
you
was
know,
weird.
your mother was
Okay,
fierce.
she was very fierce. She wasn't weird. She was fierce. I mean, we would be going on a little trip and
She was,
driving somewhere, and I'd say, "I'm thirsty," and she said, "Well, there's nowhere to stop right now. We're in the middle of nowhere. As soon as we can, we'll stop somewhere." And I'm like, "I'm thirsty." She says, "What do you want? Do you want me to cut a vein?" She- I
yeah,
mean,
your mother was quite fierce, and you inherited that to a
did
degree.
I?
Yeah, when you were young, when we were younger, I remember being a little bit nervous of you and Ingy. Actually, the two of you were like, I'm not going to argue with them. I'm not going to say anything, and I'm just going to agree with them. But I've watched somebody evolve into somebody that is so gentle and someone that is so generous. you become this hugely generous person and so giving of and settled with yourself. And I mean, we know, well, not everybody knows, but your fans will know, and I know that you've been to hell in a handbag. You know, you really have. You've been to hell and back. And the result is such a lovely, warm, generous. I feel safe. And for me to feel safe is a big deal. So, but I feel safe with you. That's why when you said to me, will you do this? Well, no, I actually, how's this, people out there? I saw that she had Wendy Oldfield on her show, and I thought, "Stuff this." So her friend, I said, what? Why are you got everybody else on your show except me?
She calls me. She says, why are you having everybody but me on your show? And I said, I promise you're on my list. I felt so bad.
Never for me to be left out, no.
Darling, I wanted you on the show so badly. And I'm so glad you came.
Well, here I am.
Well, here you are. And
that's my title.
You should have interviewed me. This should have been your interview with me, because you've been saying such beautiful things about me, and I do appreciate it. I don't need validation in my life, and that's not why I was on stage either. I didn't need thousands of people to tell me I was fabulous. I knew when I'm on stage, I got it. I know what I've got. I know you know this feeling. You know your power, and you know what to do, and you know this is my natural habitat. This is me. So it's not like I need the accolades and the admiration and the, oh God, Cindy, you're fantastic. I really don't, because that doesn't do it for me. But when somebody like you, who is a peer, who is somebody in the business with me, I've known you a long time, and you say something like this to me, this is like, oh my God, wow. And thank you for that.
Well, it's all
truly grateful for those words, Penny, because
I've never been known for one that actually blows the wind up other people's skirts. Quite the opposite, actually, as you know.
Definitely not, yes. But I've also, here we are again, mutual admiration. I've watched you and I've gone, oh my God, she's doing so well. She's done so many amazing things.
I copied you, that's all.
Huh?
I just copied you. I said at the beginning.
Well,
I'll be like her, and then I'll
better
take it.
than mine.
That's quite funny.
I think I would like at this point to play your new song.
I Got Faith.
You've got a brand new song called I Got Faith. I'm dying to hear that.
I must tell you the little bit of history about
this. Please do. Tell us about
these two young guys that I collaborated with. They're two young guys called Skiv and Cash. They're in Pretoria. And it was a complete joy working with these two men, or the youngsters. I'm talking 20s.
They've got a
and
different
have a listen to Cash's voice. And I really don't think this is the last we're gonna hear from these chaps. They've got it. This is their first ever video, and have a look at how they capture this.
Brilliant.
As I reach up to the sky, letting go of times gone by, and the tide that's in the seas is the way it's meant to be.
I made it out of the bottom, man, I don't know. I've been taking all these lessons and blessings. I gotta grow. How you make it at the bottom and get it without a rope? I was tripping it, but now I'll be tipping these dominoes. Realize the power you limit it to your mind. This little light of mine, let it shine. I got sunshine in my soul. It's energizing, holding on to hope.
I got hope that's as high as a mountain, and believe that's as deep as the sea. Like a rose when it grows, I've been grounded, but I know I can reach past the tree. And I've got sunlight in my soul, and though sometimes it takes its toll, it only keeps me reaching higher when I got nowhere left to go. Seems so simple in my mind, like I don't even have to try. I feel it rushing through my body, multiplied 1,000 times. I got faith. Ooh, I've got faith. Yeah, I got faith. Ooh, yeah.
as I reach up to the sky, letting go of times gone by and the tide that's in the seas is the way it's meant to be.
Now there's sunlight in my soul, and though sometimes it takes its toll, seems so simple in my mind. Oh yeah, I got faith. Now there's sunlight in my soul, and though sometimes it takes its toll, it only keeps me reaching higher when I got nowhere left to go. Seems so simple in my mind. Seems so simple in my mind. I feel it rushing through my body, multiplied 1,000 times. I got faith.
Reach up to the sky,
I got faith.
letting go of times gone by
Yeah, I got faith.
and the tide that's in the sea
Yeah, I got faith.
is the way it's meant to be.
Oh, we can please Master Sneeze. I will, yeah.
Woo!
I got
Yeah.
faith.
Can sing it.
That is so fresh. That's the so now, it's got that sound. Lovely. Good job, PJ.
Thanks.
That is
I
so
think She's
nice.
got an amazing voice. Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah,
very
that's a
much.
great voice. But they're so, they just, I think it's good to go out of our comfort zone in a way and do something totally different. When I came back to South Africa, I worked with Arno Carstens. We did a version of Substitute. It was like dark and very weird, and he did it his
Yeah.
way. And I was like, oh my God, is this me? And everybody loved it. They said, wow, this is so cool. I'm like, oh, okay. So I think it's good to jump out there and to try different things. I think one thing we have learned is that change is inevitable.
I think the change is inevitable, but I also think that comfort zones are the most dangerous zones to sit in. I think that it's fine to take a rest and sit in a comfort zone
Yes,
for a certain
yes.
amount of time.
That's what
But
I
I think
mean,
that
yeah.
if we're feeling not uncomfortable in our bodies or in ourselves, I'm not talking about that,
No,
but
no.
from a challenge point of view, when we're feeling a little bit edgy, that's when we're growing. When we, I
That's
always said that adversity has to find me. And I think that when we're feeling uncomfortable, we're growing. We are going, and I do believe we need a pit stop to sit in that comfort. But I
Sometimes
surround
it's
myself
good.
with young people because they
Yes.
challenge me, because
Yes.
they are bright and they are techno geeks and they are, and I
Absolutely.
sit there going like this. I think, God, there's so
I know,
much in the
also
world I
do.
don't know.
Yeah. I love it.
So,
And as I said, challenging ourselves and changing and not being scared to do it. I can't bear sticking in the mud. I stick in that quicksand. It just doesn't work for me. I have to keep moving and trying different things and whatever. If it works, great. If it doesn't work, so what? Let's just keep going. Penny,
Well, I think that's
this
advice
has
you'd have to
been...
give
Pardon?
all musicians. People always say, what piece of advice would you give to young musicians? And my piece of advice would be develop a thick skin and fast.
Absolutely. I've also said that. And my saying is, if you do not have a passion for us and you just want stardom, you stopped right now. You've got to love this, because there are going to be times that things are not happening and you are being shot down or whatever, and you're going through the demons of your life. And
Yeah.
you're conquering your demons. You are, I mean, they say that people are always in recovery, they're not recovered. But I think you've got a pretty damn good hold on it. I think you've turned your life around. I think you've moved with the times. you know, yes, and you catch yourself. You've got to catch yourself when you
Yeah.
find yourself falling to getting too close to the electric fence. You know what I'm saying?
That's a good saying. Yeah, I
Yeah.
kind of sail quite close to the electric fence sometimes. I must be perfectly
Yeah,
honest.
me
And I have to go,
too.
come
Me
on.
too.
Yeah.
Absolutely. I get close to that fence and I know is going to shock the shit out of me. and I know I've got to I've got to just okay, step back. And we've all learnt our little tricks that help us do this. And I think you've learnt a lot of tricks and I like hearing how you speak. I like hearing how you speak to yourself. Do you know what I'm
Yeah.
saying?
I try and
Because
have I try to gather tools. I like the idea of
yes,
having a toolkit.
I do too. I love a toolkit. I love, you know, things that can help me, just little reminders. Um, I'm so sad that we've come to the end of the show. I could have been talking to you for the next hour.
I know. You should
It
just set
went
up a
so
Zoom. Well, let's
quickly.
just FaceTime tomorrow morning and we can just carry
Let's,
on.
we're going to talk anyway because we want to do something together
Let's do something
anyway.
together. Yeah.
But besides that, I just want to keep in touch and get some of your energy because it's good for me. And you've uplifted me today.
I hope so.
And
I love
there's
you.
nothing
You know
wrong
that.
with some upliftment.
Nothing.
Nothing wrong with that. Is there anything you would like to say before we go out? We'll go out with a video just for fun. Anything you want to say before you go?
I just think that it would be the elephant in the room not to acknowledge what we're going through as humans at the moment. Globally, in South Africa, in Africa, young, old, you know, no matter what. The one thing about this is that you know, nobody is spared of this. Hopefully, a lot of people will be, but nobody is spared of the threat of COVID-19. And
100%.
I think the most important thing to realize is that we are not alone. We you know, when people are in isolation, and I mean, I cringe when I look at what's going on in the UK and these old people in homes not being cared for, and I just think there must be nothing lonelier. So I think that not count your blessings. I think at a time like this, we're all in our own little rowing boat and desperately trying to make our way. But I think that we may come out of this being more caring and being kinder. And that's the most important thing, is just to be kind and to be thoughtful and to know that at the end of the day, we're all just walking each other home.
I love that. I love that. That's the perfect way to end this, darling.
Thank you. Well, I think so. I
Thank
think we
you.
are.
Thank you. And we're going to play out with this beautiful video. I hope you guys have enjoyed the show. Just so you know, next week we have Sipho Hot Sticks Mabuse in the studio with us. And his manager will be with him. So we're just going to keep on going, guys. Come and see us. Come and pop in, watch the replays. We love having you. Thank you so much for supporting the show. And Julian and DiscovrTV, you guys rock. Love you guys. Till the next one. Bye.
Yeah, PJ Powers, radio and wisdom. Close on doors, love will open a window. PJ Powers, radio and wisdom. Close on doors, love will open a window.
I'm going home to Africa to feel the love in Africa. I'm going home to Africa to feel the love in Africa. 5 o'clock and the city comes to life. We feel the sun wrap her arms from this great land. Sounds of children and laughter fill the air. In my heart I know there's nothing to compare. And I'm singing